Born on the tiny Palauan island of Peleliu, known as the site of one of World War II's most deadly battles, His Excellency Dr. Buster-Otto was a man of the people, peace, and partnership, whose life had a global impact. A medical doctor by profession, Ambassador Otto was an outspoken advocate for the right to health, especially mental health, freedom from tobacco exploitation, the rights of children, youth, and persons with disabilities, climate action, oceans and islands, and sport for development. In his spare time, Toktang, as he was known locally, was a researcher, author, musician, and playwright. In his own words, let him greet us and share a short history of Palau.
Ali. That's how we say hello. Ali. Palau is a small nation. We have a very short but I think interesting history. We were discovered by the discoverers in the 16th and 17th century. And when there was a dispute as to who owns the islands, whether it was Portuguese or Spanish, the Pope decided to give us to Spain. And when Spain lost the Spanish-American War, they sold us to Germany. When Germany lost the First World War, they gave us to Japan. When Japan lost the Second World War, they gave us to the United States. We finally became independent in 1994. We were the last trust territory. Thank you very much. We were the last trust territory under the trusteeship program of the United Nations. So when we became independent, they closed that, and we only use that chamber now for meetings. Hallelujah.
Ambassador Otto is known in United Nations circles primarily for his work on mental health, human rights to water and sanitation, climate action, and oceans. He also advocated strongly for SDG 16, for the integration of the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control into the SDGs, and for inclusion of a strong platform in support of sexual and reproductive health and rights. His passion came from the heart, as he will explain in the next video clip.
The heart is a great enabler. All of you lovers, clap. And for the next 15 years, I want us to think of the Sustainable Development Goals as the affairs of the heart. On behalf of the co-sponsors of this important event, let me thank you so much again for spending your Wednesday afternoon with us to consider how best to transform the world using the 2030 Agenda. I am from Palau, and I love the Palauan language. It is spoken by, at most, about 30,000 people, but it is a beautiful language because the role of the heart in our daily interactions is prominent, as indicated by the number of words expressing well-being that contain the word reng, which is the Palauan word for heart. To name a few, for instance, Wungilarngul means he has a good heart, he's a good person, but it also means he is happy. Same as Makitarngul, Rangul has a bad heart, he's a bad person, but it also means he is sad. If I say Kasibarnguk, it actually means my heart is sweating. And if you say Kadebarngul, it means your heart is short and you are impatient. Or kloarngu means your heart is big and you are patient. I think the Palauans, in their simplistic view of life, understand that there are three basic components of the human being: the body, the mind, and the soul, the latter two occupying the head and the heart, respectively. The well-being of human being is optimum only when all of these component parts are healthy. The mind and the soul combine to form values that can be found in the heart, as we see in the Palauan language, as well as the other ancient cultures, religions, and philosophies.
Ambassador Otto was a lifelong advocate for children and a strong proponent of the International Convention on the Rights of the Child. At home, he advocated for ratification of the CRC, and in fact, this was the first international treaty that Palau ratified after independence. He served as co-chair of the National Implementation Task Force, translated the CRC into Palauan, co-authored Palau's first CRC report, and later authored the National Youth Policy. Ambassador Otto was an outspoken advocate for breastfeeding at home and abroad. He was probably the first, and perhaps the only UN ambassador, to speak on the floor about breastfeeding. With his usual creativity, he managed to weave breastfeeding across the 2030 agenda, and was one of the earliest advocates linking breastfeeding with climate action. In the next video clip, he will talk to us about action on behalf of children.
We should create more hope spots for young people. Hope that will, like Carlos, help them to achieve their dreams.
At home, Dr. Otto is known foremost for his anti-tobacco work. Appalled by the suffering caused by tobacco and incensed by the way that big tobacco manipulates the poor and powerless, Dr. Otto co-founded the Coalition for a Tobacco-Free Palau, carrying the tobacco-free message throughout the country and the world. Moving beyond advocacy, Dr. Otto used his position as a member of the Palau National Congress to legislate long-term tobacco control. Taking to the global stage, in 2000, Dr. Otto became a leading voice in the negotiations of the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. In his memoirs, he reflects on this experience. I remember thinking of how geographically, economically, and politically insignificant we were as Pacific Islands in these negotiations, while I was sitting between the ambassadors of two other large countries, both advocating for trade over health. But one statement kept running through my mind. Who are these men? Ambassadors, powerful politicians, corporate presidents, government officials. Who are these men that they should have so much power over the lives of our people? So when these ambassadors argued for trade over health, I and other like-minded participants spoke for people over profit. In the end, our position won out. The rest is history. After the FCTC entered into force, Dr. Otto served on the WHO Bureau and was active in the Conference of Parties. Throughout, Dr. Otto worked to ensure that civil society had a place and a voice at the negotiation table. As UN Ambassador, Dr. Otto was an active participant in the Open Working Group on sustainable development. In the words of Lauren Huber of the Action on Smoking and Health Alliance, Dr. Otto not only did not think we were crazy when we asked him to consider the idea to integrate the WHO FCTC in the Sustainable Development Goals, he actually took it on and almost single-handedly championed the inclusion of the WHO FCTC in the SDGs, while also fighting for climate change, oceans, breastfeeding, and other social justice needs. A lifelong avid sportsman, Dr. Otto was a founding member of the Palau Tennis Federation and Palau Swimming Association, a longtime member of the Palau National Olympic Committee Board of Directors, and active locally in walking, running, marathon events, tennis, and swimming as both a coach and a participant. He combined his love for medicine and sport in the Palau Sports Medicine Commission, conducting sports medicine trainings region-wide and serving as medical officer for Team Palau at national, regional, and international events, including the Athens Olympics in 2004 and the London Olympics in 2012. Carrying this passion for sports in New York, Ambassador Otto worked closely with Monaco and Senegal, among others, to incorporate sport into the SDGs. In a moving tribute at the time of his death, his dear friend Ambassador Bogyai of Hungary called Dr. Otto a Renaissance man, a fitting tribute to one who wore so many hats effortlessly. Finally, we close with the words that became Ambassador Otto's trademark throughout the SDG Open Working Group. I wish you continued mental health and well-being. On behalf of Ambassador Otto's family, friends, and colleagues, we thank all of the partners here today who helped make his work possible and who will help his legacy live on. Kompan Masula.